Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Be Kind Rewind, your best source for the things that matter most, movies, movie news, and streaming. I am your host, Joe Young, and I'm officially live. I'm streaming live direct to you through our social media feeds, and I'm here and you're here, which means I guess that we are officially ready to go. I'm excited. This is number 2 for me. I'm just extremely excited to finally kind of get to this point. This has been a little bit of a rough morning. So a little bit of housekeeping. I am working on the stream and what time that I would go live. And I'm still working through kind of my schedule and just all the things, right? Like I had appointments this morning. I had show notes to kind of put together and things to work through before I got to this point. So I am in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I'm streaming from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I am working to essentially go live in the morning, Central Time. Probably, that seems to probably be where my schedule actually works best. So my hope is that I'll be streaming live on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Time, moving forward. But with me still working through the kinks, I'm sure it'll bounce around a little bit, but it should be on Saturdays. Every Saturday, my goal is to go live with anything that's kind of going on in the world of movies and movie news and streaming and all of those type of things. So I wanted to just kind of let you guys know that, and then also just be patient. I'm still working through all this stuff, so if it feels rough, apologies, but I'm also working to make it better for you, better for the community, better for the audience. So anyways, with that kind of down, how does this show work? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. I put together a list of topics, usually the big news from the week, the things that I think are interesting, and I'll break them down, kind of give you the rundown of what those topics are, and then I give you my thoughts, my opinions, kind of what I think about it, and then I'll leave it to you guys to discuss and tell me what you think. It's really is pretty simple. That's kind of how the show works. So with all that down, today's show, a few things, right? On today's show, right? We've got the Thor teaser for Avengers Doomsday dropped on Tuesday. That's one of the first topics, and then the second topic, the rumor that Marvel Studios wants Jordan Peele to direct an MCU film. There's a rumor floating around about that, and I just wrapped up Stranger Things 5, and I have some thoughts. So that's the big stuff that we're going to be talking about on today's episode. And with all that down, let's go ahead and get started. We'll just jump into the first topic, shall we? Marvel released the Thor teaser for Avengers Doomsday. And I am 100% convinced that this is the marketing strategy. That Marvel's going to drop the teaser in the theaters, that they're going to leak that teaser either before or after it goes into theaters, and then ultimately release it in 4K in all of its glory online, and all of us Marvel nerds are going to rejoice, and we're going to discuss, and we're going to imagine about what all this means and what the next things are going to be, and we're just going to kind of nerd out about it, right? So the marketing for this has just kind of felt wonky, but it's also felt very intentional. I feel like teaser leaks is not something that was common prior, that Marvel never leaks hardly anything, and they're not pro leaks. But this go around, they feel very much like this is the marketing strategy. And I talked a little bit about that last week, but yeah, I'm more convinced than ever that this is 100% the marketing strategy. We're going to leak them, we're going to put them out online, and then everybody's going to talk, and we just maximize the amount of conversation that we're going to have as part of this run, right? So now, what about the teaser? The teaser itself is great. It's not overly exciting, but it's also, I think, starts to set the tone for ultimately what Avengers Doomsday is going to be. And we get a little hint of that with the fact that when the teaser shows Thor, that he's back in kind of Infinity War Endgame Thor. We're no longer in Love and Thunder Thor. He seems to be much more serious and seems to be very much kind of back in that Infinity War Endgame Thor. And we see him walking through a forest, praying to the All-Father and prepping to go into battle. And We see flashbacks of him spending time with his adopted daughter, Love, and then we get the title card announcing that Thor will return in Avengers Doomsday. So, like I said, overall, great teaser. I made a post about it. I shared it online. You guys can make sure that you go check that out. Drop your comments over there and let me know kind of what you think. But my take at this point on the what we've got between the Steve Rogers and now the Thor teaser and the post credit scene from Fantastic Four is that Doom is essentially making a play for the kids of the Avengers. That seems to be what I'm gathering from these first two teaser trailers. I don't know, ultimately where that's going. Is that good or bad? I don't know, but it seems to be the kind of the common thread. However, with this teaser, like I said, this teaser was fine. It was great. It kind of ends with Thor's going to return in Avengers Doomsday, and so it's getting us hyped, right? It's getting us hyped for the new movie. We're getting excited about it. We're talking about it. We're still a year out, so these little teasers, they're going to have to do a lot of marketing between now and then. I do think that this movie is going to be huge. You could do no marketing and still get a huge response at the box office, but we've still got a long way to go before we get to the actual release of the film. And with that comes more marketing, more teasers, right? Now, the next teaser that is has already been leaked online, so if you guys have seen it or not, I'm not sure. I'm going to try to not be too spoilery, but at the same time, this is a teaser, and it's designed to be in nature spoilery. So, a little bit of a breakdown of the new teaser that it has leaked and is out online and is currently probably playing in theaters this weekend with Avatar: Fire and Ash. This new teaser heavily features the X-Men, and we see our characters from the Fox X-Men universe. We see Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. You see Ian McKellen as Magneto, and then we kind of get the hero shot of James Marsden coming back as Cyclops in his full comic accurate suit, and it looks like he's been fighting a big battle. He kind of rips off his visor and then opens his eyes and kind of just shoots out red plasma out of his eyes, and it looks very intense, very very reminiscent of kind of your opening scene in X-Men, the animated series in X-Men 97. But it looks very intense, and it really does kind of set the tone. And I really do think that this is the trailer, right? This is the big one, right? The next big teaser trailer that's going to give us a little bit more meat to what Infinity War is ultimately going to be, kind of the tone and the vibe, right? So this one I feel like is kind of the next really, really, really big teaser. So we'll probably see that if I'm guessing. We'll get that Monday morning or Tuesday morning. Marvel will drop that on the social media feeds. I will share it as soon as it drops online. I would love for you guys to let me know what you guys think of this teaser, the Thor teaser, and then also kind of like what that one's going to become. So if you have seen the teaser, what did you guys think? I mean, these are the big questions, right? So what did you guys think? Have you seen the new teaser? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you excited for Thor? Kind of going back to his Infinity War look. I want to know. Jump down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Okay, guys, staying in the MCU for a minute. The next topic is Jordan Peele making an MCU movie. And first off, I think it's completely fair that we take this report with a huge grain of salt, right? This is the internet. These are rumors. Things are flying around left and right. Always, 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 always check your sources, guys. This is important that you never just randomly share information on the internet, because any of it can be made up at any point, and it is exactly that. It's just the internet, right? Everything's true on the internet until it's not. So yeah, take this with a huge grain of salt. But it has been kind of reported, it's been floating around out there that it's possible that Jordan Peele is coming in to do an MCU movie. And while, again, huge rumor, I'm not opposed, the way that the rumor got started is Jordan Peele's production company, Monkey Paw Productions pretty much threw gas on, like, the rumor kind of circulated around. Then Monkey Paw Productions social media feed reshared or retweeted the rumor with the emoji eyes on the as kind of the comment. Then they went through and actually did the same thing on Instagram. So I feel like it's fair that we at least talk about it. I don't know how true it's going to be, but I think the real question for me is if Jordan Peele is going to make an MCU movie, which is completely possible, then what movie is he coming in for? What movie is Jordan Peele ultimately going to put together for Marvel? And I have some thoughts. I think the first kind of obvious movie that I think he would come in for would be Blade. Blade has been in basically production limbo all the way. I mean, pretty much since 2019 when Marvel first announced Mahershala Ali taking over for Wesley Snipes as the character of Blade in the MCU. There's been directors come and go. There's been writers come and go. And ultimately, at this point, I'm not even 100% sure that Blade's ever going to get made. It is still considered in production. They are currently without a director. And because of that, it's completely possible. And I think kind of the obvious choice for us to assume that Jordan Peele would be coming in and taking over directing duties for Blade. So, totally possible, but I also think it's fair that we kind of think through what else he might be working on. I kind of lost my spot in my notes. But I would be open to him doing several other movies that I think would be interesting for him to attack in the MCU. I thought I would go ahead and just kind of make a list of those things and kind of read through them for you guys. And I want to throw out the first one here. So I got about three. I got three somethings here that I think might be worth Jordan Peele jumping into. And my first one is Doctor Strange. We know post Avengers, Doomsday, Secret Wars, and possibly even like another Avengers movie, depending on how many they break this film up into. We know Doctor Strange started an arc in Doctor Strange 2 that will need to be continued and kind of fill out his trilogy. Marvel's been really good about giving each one of these characters a full trilogy of films. And my assumption is that we are going to get a Doctor Strange 3. And if we're going to get a Doctor Strange 3, I think it's completely fair or interesting to think through that Jordan Peele may be a really good option for the next installment of Doctor Strange 3. I think that Sam Raimi was a perfect choice for Doctor Strange 2. And regardless of kind of the overall film itself, Doctor Strange 2, I still love Raimi's tone that he brought to the Doctor Strange character and kind of the world that he lives in. So for me, Raimi brought him into brought Doctor Strange more into the horror elements, and then I think Jordan Peele could kind of take it to the next level. And with his run of just kind of these psychological thrillers, I think it would be really interesting to see kind of Doctor Strange and the psychological either horror or struggle that he would be faced with, especially with making these more moral choices when he has the power to not be, right? So check the stream, make sure I'm still going. But he has the ability to kind of do whatever he wants. And what are the moral implications that come with that? And what is that psychological horror element that comes along with kind of the Doctor Strange character and ultimately who he is and where he's going? So I think that Jordan Peele would be an excellent, and don't forget, like, Doctor Strange has fought like Dracula and Satan and all these like kind of supernatural characters in the Marvel comics run. So it would be very cool to see Doctor Strange, kind of Jordan Peele's interpretation of Doctor Strange. So that would be one movie that I think would be very interesting for Jordan Peele to attack. The next one on my list is actually Werewolf by Night. So Werewolf by Night was this little Marvel special presentation that dropped one Halloween. I want to say in 2019, 2020, something like that. But they dropped it in black and white. It was this little supernatural nugget that just kind of left these characters in the, kind of in the multiverse abyss. We get a hint of this little supernatural world that exists inside the MCU. The special presentation was great. I thought it was really well put together. I actually enjoyed the black and white version more than the re-release in color. And we got these hints of these characters of it was Jack Russell and Elsa Bloodstone, and then Man Thing was also in that as well. And Man Thing is just super. It's such a cool character, and I would love to see that translated onto the big screen. But Jordan Peele would be great to take any one of these kind of like super. If Jordan, or I guess if James Gunn was able to kind of like hone in what the cosmic side of the MCU was, I would love to see somebody like Jordan Peele take the supernatural side and kind of own that and do a Man Thing movie, or do a Elsa Bloodstone kind of feature, whether that's a series or a movie. I would love to see what Jordan Peele would do with these characters and definitely dive more into that supernatural side. I think it would be incredible. I think he would do a great job at it, and I hope that if Jordan Peele is coming in, this is actually where my brain actually probably leans more than anything, is him as kind of the curator of the supernatural side of the MCU. I think he would do a really good job. I think you could also bring in Sam Raimi. I think there's plenty of other directors that could also. But for the purpose of today's conversation, we're really talking about Jordan Peele and what he would be, what kind of value he would bring to the MCU. So Werewolf by Night, the characters from Werewolf by Night, I think would be really dope if Jordan Peele could could take that and run with it, and I think he would do a great job. So the next one, I really would love to see someone take on Storm. I think Storm would be a very cool and interesting character to bring. Not only, I mean, we know she's coming into the MCU, but what is the MCU's version of Storm? And how would we introduce her into the MCU? I think Jordan Peele would do a great job putting together either a Storm series, kind of a almost like a special presentation, kind of like what they did with Werewolf by Night, or what they did with Echo, where we kind of get these introductions of these characters and who they are and how they play out in the MCU as we know it. So I would love to see, and it could be a series, it could be a movie. I'm indifferent on either one of those, but I would love to see what Jordan Peele would do with the character Storm, or really anything in the X-Men side of the MCU. I think Jordan Peele's an incredible talent, both on and off the camera. I think he has, obviously, with the stuff he did with Key and Peele, the humor that he's able to bring, I think would also, dramatically elevate kind of whatever content he touches. But anything kind of in the world of X-Men, specifically Storm. And that's if Ryan Coogler doesn't take on something like that. I do think that Ryan Coogler taking on a Storm project would also be an incredible use. But if Coogler's not going to do it and Jordan Peele's in the running, I think he would be a great option as well. So kind of a quick rundown. I see it as Doctor Strange 3. If he's not doing Blade, if he is going to be in the MCU, if he is directing, I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying it from a rumor standpoint. If we're thinking about it, if we're imagining, I would see Jordan Peele. I think he could handle Blade. I think he would do a great job there. I think he would kill it with Doctor Strange 3. I think he would kill it with anything in the supernatural side of the MCU. And on top of that, I would say Storm and anything in the X-Men world, because we know these characters are coming to the MCU. We know that these are projects and that are going to start coming after Avengers Doomsday and the MCU, or the Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to see him take on any one of these projects that are already kind of like in the works. But if we're talking about things that are also just ideally, I would love to see him really take over the supernatural side. Like I said, there's plenty of other directors out there that could do the work and be great at it. But I think Jordan Peele has proven time and time again that he can handle this kind of creepy psychological thriller world, and I think he would do a really good job for the MCU. It would tie him up, though. It would really tie him up, and he wouldn't be able to do his own things. So that would be kind of the bummer for us as fans, is we wouldn't get another Jordan Peele movie for probably like 10 years while he's working through MCU stuff. So that would be a bummer, and I would hate to see that happen. But honestly, Jordan Peele can do whatever he wants, and I would watch. So I'm looking at this purely 100%. It's just a rumor. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see it happen. I'd love to see him in the MCU in some capacity, but I do see this as really just a rumor. And I was reading through some of the articles today, and regardless of some of the retweets and things like that, it looks to be like probably not. But I'm still holding out. I think it would be great. So what do you guys think? Is Jordan Peele jumping into the MCU? Yes, no. If he is, what would you like to see Jordan Peele tackle in the MCU? Jump down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. All right, so let's talk about the big giant elephant in the room. Stranger Things this week. This was the big one for me. This is the one that was kind of a whole enchilada, kind of consumed most of my week in entertainment. Stranger Things 5 is officially over. Stranger Things as a series is officially over. The whole run of Stranger Things is now complete. My son and I, we were able to go watch the finale in theaters at our local AMC in Tulsa. We were able to watch it on the big screen. That was super, super cool. We posted about it. Make sure you guys are following us on social media. You get a little bit more real time of what's going on in my world and what entertainment is, if you guys are kind of following along, and be part of the conversation, because I post things and I'd love to know your thoughts on this stuff as we drop it. But Stranger Things 5 came to an end. We watched New Year's Day. We went to the theater and we watched the finale on the big screen. Super great. It's the first time I've ever seen a show, a television show on the big screen, which was super fun. And then, it was overwhelmingly such a positive experience to be able to watch it in the theater. But over the holiday season, we all got the latest chapter in the Stranger Things saga, and the episodes were released in volume sets, culminating in the series finale that is on Netflix, and it was also dropped in theaters. And I loved it. I loved everything about I can't say everything. I loved the majority of everything that was season 5. I thought Stranger Things 5 overall just kind of hit the nail on the head. The show has been every bit of the 80s nostalgia that I crave. This is for the whole series, not just season 5. But I love the 80s. I'm unapologetically an 80s kid, and this show has been every bit of that. The 80s nostalgia. I love that stuff. I love seeing shows set in the 80s. I love seeing characters from the 80s. In this series, we really got great characters, introduction of characters, world building, mythology crafting, and so much more. It's one of the few shows that has constantly made me feel like I was part of the show, that I was in the show, that I was going along with these characters, the kids, the outcasts, the losers in this show, and that through a series of unfortunate events, all of us were thrust into something bigger. And I just love that about this show. And it had all my favorite pieces, right? Stranger Things gave us action and violence and jump scares and creepy vibes that are mostly kind of fun, creepy vibes. And then later in the series, we got these kind of like full on creepy vibes where it got really much darker. We grew up with these characters, not only as actors, but just like as their character has grown, they've gotten older, and we grew up with them through these events. And this show's been running for 9 years, which is extremely crazy. The amount of runtime that we have in the show over 9 years, the growth that happened over 9 years, watching everybody grow up over 9 years, was incredible. And it's extremely rare that a show really sticks the landing. And this show, while it didn't stick the landing, it definitely landed the plane. And let me kind of expand on that a little bit. While I can give you all the reasons why I love it. It the plane definitely didn't crash and burn. And I'm gonna go into some spoilers a little bit. And at this point, I don't know, right? Like, it's been out for a few days. I hope you guys have seen it, but I am gonna give you the warning that I'm going to go into spoilers, and I don't want anybody to be spoiled on anything. So if you haven't seen the finale, specifically the finale of season 5, but really anything in season 5, you might want to go ahead and turn away and come back later, because I am going to go into some spoilers. So still here? I'll give everybody a minute. Okay. So if everybody's still here, that's great. So I thought the bulk of the finale was great. So I'm going to talk about kind of the series as a whole and the finale, kind of in tandem a little bit, and give you guys kind of some thoughts. Here's some things, kind of part of that finale and part of this last few episodes that we learned. And I really felt like that the first 2/3 of this kind of finale put us right into the action. The team was in the Upside Down, working through this highly coordinated plan, and we're getting all the greatness that the show has delivered on over the years. So I feel like that first 2/3 of the finale really hit the mark for me. There was a bunch of it that really, really, really worked well. Things that we learned in as part of these last couple of episodes was, we know now, especially from the finale, we now know that Henry Creel is not a victim. He was not coerced into becoming Vecna or this evil creature. He chose this, right? He wanted this. He willingly bonded with the Mind Flayer, set this monstrous plan into motion. Henry Creel is evil. He's a bad guy. There was some questions kind of going into the series finale if we were going to see Henry Creel kind of be redeemed, that maybe he was being controlled by the Mind Flayer, anything to that kind of effect. And ultimately, we found out that that's not the case. Like, he really is just kind of pure evil, which was pretty solid revelation. And I think it needed to be. I think it definitely needed. He just needed to be a bad guy. He needed to be evil. He needed to be the antagonist, and we needed to eliminate the antagonist, right? So I don't think it's any secret that we knew that the way that this would end is that the kids would, or somebody, the kids, the group, most of the group would ultimately defeat Vecna, and we would move on, right? So, but that was kind of a big revelation that I thought was worth talking about. I mean, Vecna was pure evil. He was not being controlled. He was not being manipulated. There was no redeeming arc for the character of Vecna, and I felt like that was exactly the way it needed to be. So, that was one thing, right? Another big thing that we kind of learned in this process was that the Upside Down is really this big bridge or wormhole that connects our dimension to what in the show they call the abyss, and or some other kind of dimension, whatever you want to call it. But it was basically this bridge between these two dimensions. I love that we really get the curtain kind of gets pulled back, and we really get this reveal that this is not a supernatural type show. It started out as more, you didn't really know, is it science, is it supernatural, is it what are these monsters, what are these things? But this is based on at least in this world, this world's version of science, right? And a lot of it has to do in the real world, right? Things that we can tie back to actual science legitimately. But in this world, it's all kind of based on science, and these creatures are creatures from the abyss. They're not demons or ghosts or anything like that. They're biological creatures, and they are very much so just monsters. And they eat, sleep, and breathe, and they die. These are all things, right? We've seen this throughout the series, but this kind of last season really defined that this is not a supernatural thing. This is 100% science, and these creatures are from another parallel, not really parallel, but just like another dimension. Um, for the kids and the other characters, Mike, Will, Lucas, Dustin, Max, Steve, Robin, Nancy, and Jonathan all get a pretty solid happy ending. So as this series kind of wrapped up, we see that all of our characters, all the characters that we kind of fell in love with over the series, really get a happy ending. Hopper and Joyce get engaged at the end, which is super great, and are planning a big move away from Hawkins now that the kids are growing up and they've graduated. And then even Murray made it out of the Upside Down. He made it out up, alive, and all of that stuff. But 11, the big elephant in the room, right? Like the big moment. 11, the mystery is essentially there, right? And so in the series finale, 11 made the sacrifice play. The way it was presented, 11 made the sacrifice play. She chose to stay in the Upside Down as everything was collapsing, and 11 knew that as long as she, or at least my interpretation, 11 knew that as long as she was alive, that the military would never stop coming after her, that this would never stop, essentially. She knew that her friends would always be in danger. She knew that Mike would always be in danger. And there would not be any room for a happy ending for any of her friends or the people that she loved or the people that she cared about. And 11 is assumed to have died in that moment. So that's the way it's kind of presented. But in true Stranger Things fashion, the series ends with Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas, and Max back in the Wheeler basement playing Dungeons and Dragons. And as they conclude the game, Mike begins kind of telling both us, the audience, and the group his version of how things are going to play out for his friends. So in typical kind of fashion, different shows have done this stuff differently, but they kind of give you this little flash forward montage of how these characters' lives continue to carry out beyond the series finale. And Mike is kind of our storyteller, kind of giving what he believes to be his story, his interpretation, or where this group is going post the series finale. So part of this epilogue, he goes through each character. Each character gets their own moment to shine, and we can kind of see where we believe these characters to go. But Mike dives into 11, and he is a storyteller. And in his kind of epilogue, he kind of recounts the events of the night that Elle died. And in his recount of the events, he points out that the military was using the devices that disrupted Elle's powers, and that Elle was still able to use her powers to enter Mike's mind to say goodbye. Then going further to say that 8 years was still alive, Then going further to say that 8 was still alive, and that she used her powers to mask Elle's escape. I'm following my notes because I'm trying to remember how everything goes together. So basically 8's still alive in the Upside Down. Elle is standing at the gate. And that in Mike's story, Mike is basically stating that 8 is using her powers and that she didn't die when she got shot earlier in the episode. And that she was using her powers to basically mask or hide Elle. And Elle was able to escape. Ultimately kind of leaving us as the audience unsure kind of what is the truth. So it does show in the final the final few scenes that Elle is kind of in this fantasy place that Mike has decided that's where they were going to meet up after everything died down. And there was going to be these 3 waterfalls. And it shows Millie Bobby Brown's character of 11 walking through these hills, seeing those waterfalls. And everything kind of looks very, very much like a New Zealand kind of look. It looks like they kind of shot maybe over in New Zealand or something. But a small village in somewhere in maybe like a New Zealand kind of town. And, and then it's kind of like in scene from there, right? So it leaves us with the question of, was the story that Mike was telling, do we as the audience take that in a way that that our characters did ultimately take those paths, that Elle is alive, that all the other kids in the group ultimately went on to be part of Mike's story. Um, and as Mike is kind of finishing his thoughts, all the kids decide that they believe, that they don't know, that Elle has or has not survived, but they believe that Elle's out there somewhere, and that this is a great plan and a great story for them. So it gives us a little bit of that. Now, as the characters then go through and they have their, again, all the tears and all the emotions and all those kinds of things. But the kids go in and they close up their Dungeons & Dragons books. They put them on the shelves kind of one by one. It's kind of the big goodbye. And then Mike starts walking up the basement stairs to head out. And in a fantastic and brilliant moment of writing, you see Holly and all the kids that were trapped by Vecna, or at least a handful of the kids trapped by Vecna, including delightful Derek, one of my favorite characters from the show, bust in through the basement door and come down, and they set up and they start playing Dungeons & Dragons. This is a beautiful moment of kind of the passing of the torch of this like old group and now the new group. And we get a little bit of that, and then Mike kind of continues to walk up the stairs, and then we kind of get the door closes, fade to black. So it's a beautiful way to end the series. I really enjoyed how they put that whole piece together. But throughout this series, these episodes, the Duffer Brothers have done such a great job of putting together these moments like that are incredible. So we don't really know. We don't know if Elle is alive. We don't know if Elle did make the sacrifice play. But at the end, I mean, me personally, if I'm picking between one or the other, I think Elle did die. I think Elle needed to die. I think in order to complete this series, Elle needs to die. But otherwise, yeah, there's always going to be that possibility that the government just keeps coming after the kids, and then it just never really ends. So I feel like pretty strongly that Elle has made the sacrifice play, that she passed away. But it's nice to think about. It's nice to think that there's some possibilities, and it leaves the door. I mean, as a writing team, it does leave the door open to a potential sequel series of some kind. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. Now, everything that I've been discussing really up to this point has been the things that's worked really well for me. But that's not, and this is where I get into the like, Joe, you talk glowingly about this. You've given us reasons why it's all pretty good. It is, and I loved it. But did they stick the landing? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they crashed and burned. I also don't think that they really stuck the landing. I think we're somewhere in the middle. And this is why. I'm going to kind of give you guys, I don't think it's fair for me to give all you the glowings and the big thumbs up moments for me without giving you some of the down, the thumbs down kind of moments. And there's a few things in this series as a whole, but then also just kind of in these final episodes that just do not work for me. And I think it's fair to kind of work through those. So I made a short list. I got about 5 things I'm going to go through. I'm going to try to keep my thoughts together as I go. My ADD's kicking in. But what didn't work for me? What did not work for me either through the series, through various episodes of season 5, or just in general, right? So here's a few things that really, really grinds my gears, so to speak. This finale was really drawn out. Like there were a bunch of scenes, or at least a few scenes, where we could have cut them out. We could have cut them out and really tightened it up. There were several scenes with additional dialogue that didn't really add much to the story. We would go into these slow-mo territory, like scenes where time kind of really slows down so they can really extend the dialogue. And it, again, not really adding much to the overall story, but we would have these moments. There were these moments. We got this with Max and Holly when they were trying to escape Vecna's mind. We got this when, oh gosh, man, like the scene with Nancy and Jonathan and their unproposal scene. That was insane. That was just weird. We got that with Will's coming out scene. It was kind of oddly timed and extremely extended. It just, I understand what he was going through. I understand the character arc and that he needed to get that kind of out of his head before they go into this big battle with Vecna, but it just felt way longer than it should have been. So I think that these episodes, or at least these episodes, several of these scenes, you could have cut a lot of that back, tightened it all up, and I think it just would have worked better. So I think that there was a lot of things in the finale, but also throughout the season that we could have tightened up better. It just felt kind of long and drawn out. Mostly, and I don't know why. I don't know why they were doing it. I don't know if it was because they wanted to have these extended scenes, make the run times longer. I'm not really sure, but a lot of it could have been tightened up. Okay, so number two, the cuts of the characters just about to die, only to be caught and pulled back up at the last minute, was completely overused. We got this several times through the show, several times where you just know that the character is dead. It goes to these slow-mo shots, these emotional shots. Everybody's on the edge of their seat. This character's going to die. And then, somebody catches them or, flips to the next scene and you realize, oh, it was just in their head. In the finale specifically, we got two of them almost kind of back to back. And one of those was when Vecna's in Hopper's mind and he thinks that he shot Elle in the tank, and he kind of loses it and he busts her out and kind of breaks the cycle or the bond or whatever. And so we, in that moment as the audience, we're like, oh my gosh, he just shot Elle. Elle's dead. Like, that's it. Hopper killed Elle, which would be horrible for that character to have lost a daughter and then killed his adoptive daughter. So that would have been awful. That was one scene in the finale that just drove me a little bit bananas. And then we've got Steve's almost death. That wasn't even close to a death. It was just the way that they edited it and cut it, right? There's the moment on top of the big cell tower, the radio tower, where the abyss is coming collapsing down. It hits the tower. It starts to knock things over. We don't know who's going to, and then Steve falls and he goes into slow-mo mode and he's, and then eventually we go black, and then we cut back and Jonathan's caught him and pulled him up, which was cool that it was Jonathan because of all of their discord throughout the season. But still, it was like everybody just knew Steve was going to, I guess between the Tonight Show appearance with the Duffer Brothers and everything, Steve was going to die. It was just kind of a fake out. And there were several of these type of things that happened throughout the season that were extremely irritating, that it's just like so many times there was a character that probably should have died that didn't die. And it was all because I guess they wanted to kind of have like wrap this thing up in a bow and have a happy ending. For all of the shenanigans and all the things that happened, for all of our characters to come out essentially scratch free, felt a little odd. So I hated those little cuts, and I think it was completely overused. So again, just my opinion. I didn't think that worked. It kind of took me out of the show. The obvious one, number 3, Nancy is now Rambo. I think that is the memes have been circulating, and I totally agree with the memes. She took out like multiple highly trained soldiers throughout this season's run, and never took a hit. Never, not even a scratch. It was ridiculous to me that how this young lady was able to kick in the door of any military complex, blow dudes away, and then never even take a hit. So Nancy is Rambo. Just she went from somehow being the sweet little girl who was studying for her science test, and then now she's just Rambo, I guess, at this point. So that was completely annoying, and it just felt overused, and yeah, I didn't like it. Now, my next thing, and I'm probably going to take some heat for this one, but Will crying. Will cried so much, so much in this season specifically, but throughout the season. This dude, just his whole character, he just cries, and it's not even a good cry. It's an ugly cry, and there's tears and snot and spit, and it's just gross. And Will is happy now. It looks to me like as the show ended, Will is happy now. If Mike's story is to be true, then Will has gone off to New York, and he found a boyfriend, and he's happy, and life goes on, and so hopefully we never have to see Will cry again. Like I said, it's gross. There's a lot of spit, a lot of tears, and a lot of snot, and especially on the big screen, it was even worse. So I could get past, or I could never see Will cry again, and I'd be the happiest person ever. So that was a big gripe for me. He was always crying. And then this big one. This one is one of my biggest gripes probably throughout the whole scene. And this scene just killed me. But basically, variable Demogorgon powers and then the entire hospital laundry room scene. So Demogorgons are apparently only scary and only unstoppable when the story serves it, right? We don't even know where they were in the finale. I never even saw. I don't think I saw one Demogorgon at all in the series finale. I'm trying to think. If I'm wrong, somebody let me know. But yeah, I didn't see. I don't think I saw. I don't think I saw one one Demogorgon in any of this. So yeah, I don't think I did. In some scenes, the Demogorgons are busting down steel doors, and in the next, Lucas can drop kick one across the hall while carrying an unconscious Max and a giant boombox. So that moment in particular, completely took me out of the show. That one, I literally was like, I audibly, very loudly said, "What the heck is going on?" There's also in the next scene, there is the moment where Lucas and unconscious Max and Robin and her girlfriend are all hiding from the Demodogs in the laundry room, and with the boombox blaring, right? It's loud. He's playing the music for Max. The Demodogs bust down the door. So now after Lucas has just drop kicked one of these Demogorgons down the hallway, um, now they've managed to bust down the door into the laundry room, come in, and while the music is playing loudly and while they're hiding on the other side of one of the laundries, very Jurassic Park, very like the kitchen raptor scene from Jurassic Park. They're hiding with the boombox blaring, and those things can't find him. And that just bugged the crap out of me because I didn't understand why the music could be loud and the Demogorgons didn't know which direction to go. So that just did not make sense. And then somehow Miss Wheeler is able to drag her busted carcass down the like 3 flights of stairs. Probably dragging I can't remember where she found the oxygen tank. I can't remember, but she drags either way. She's all busted up from her Demogorgon fight in the earlier episodes of the season, and manages to drag her busted carcass down the stairs with an oxygen tank, sneak into said laundry room where all these Demogorgons are, where this music is playing, throw the oxygen tank into the laundry or into the dryer. Again, unknowingly to the Demogorgons, only for them to be curious after it starts clanking around in the dryer, and then takes out all. It explodes. It takes out all the Demogorgons. This is just the stupidest scene. This scene was incredibly stupid. It made no sense. There was nothing happening in that scene that made sense, and why the Demogorgons couldn't find the kids because there's music, obviously, and then Miss Wheeler with the oxygen. It just made no sense, and it just drove me insane. So, yeah, you can tell by my demeanor. This just did not work for me. There were many little things peppered throughout this series and through this season as a whole that just did not. It was stuff like this that just did not work for me, and I have some gripes. That's what I say. As much as I love the show, as much as I think the show is definitely, at the end of the day, I would totally give it like a 9 out of 10 as a series as a whole. These type of things are the things that really took it down for me, really took me out of the show. And I feel like I'm not alone in this. I feel like there's a lot of you out there that have these same type of beats are going to be the things that probably you didn't like, but still love the show, and that's okay. It was just that whole scene in particular for me was ridiculous. So those are, I could go on about other times or other things in the show that were disappointing. I could tear apart every moment of bad acting or poor writing. That's not really what I want to do. That's not my style. That's not really what this channel is about, right? Like, this is Be Kind, right? Be kind and rewind. And so I could gripe about a lot of things, but did they stick the landing? Did Stranger Things 5 really stick the landing? I would say no. I don't think that they stuck the landing on this finale. I don't think that they necessarily stuck the landing on this entire series. But did they land the plane? And I think it's fair to say yes. They definitely didn't crash and burn. The plane itself was landed. I think that the series came to a solid conclusion. And without, minus a few bad scenes or poor dialogue or bad moments, this show overall really, really, I love this series. I really, really do. We know that there's going to be some spinoffs coming. We get the animated series that's going to be dropping later this year. There's rumors of another live action series that's probably going to play. So I'm 100% in on the Stranger Things universe. I think that anything that they put out, I'm definitely going to have to check it out. I'm definitely going to watch. Um, and I definitely have some strong opinions on some of the things that didn't work, but overall, I really, really, really love this season. I really did like the series finale. I think that they hit it. I would say it's a solid 8 out of 10 just as a series finale as the last episode. And I think that the series as a whole, just overall, is a solid 9, a 9 out of 10. I think that they killed it. 9 years, even with some of the inconsistencies and even some of the problems, they really did a really, 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 really good job. And this is a huge play for Netflix. Netflix is notorious for not sticking landings, and I think that for this one, this was just a really, really good, great, if not great, show. And I'll rewatch. I'm sure me and my kids will rewatch it over the years. And yeah, anything that they come out with new, I'm definitely in. So, what did you guys think? What do you guys think of the series? Overall, the series overall. Did you like season 5? What did you think about the finale itself? Love it, hate it, somewhere in between. I want to know. I want to know what you guys think. So jump down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Okay, well, that is it. I am going to use these things. I am going to use this kind of live stream. I want to get to where you guys kind of submit questions and you let me know what is things that you want to talk about. I kind of want to make this thing a two-way street. But that is it. My plan is to put together a little bit of a plan and see what we can do about making sure that you guys can submit your questions and we can have a little bit of time at the end of these shows to read through those questions and answer them. So I'll work on that. That'll be something that I will work on. But that is it for today's episode of Be Kind Rewind. Don't forget, just because I'm not live doesn't mean that the conversation has to end. You can find me online on all the major social platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. And I'm working on TikTok. That one I'm still working on. So you can just search my handle at Be Kind Rewind Show. Hit the subscribes, likes, and follow buttons, and you can stay plugged in to your best source for all things movies, movie news, and streaming. So until next time, bye-bye.